Hi, I'm here to talk about our new leash and buddy bolt system. So check this out. Here's the buddy bolt system. This is the bolt that's going to screw into the bottom of your kettlebell. It comes with a swivel and 2 carabiners. And the setup is pretty simple. You're going to carabiner to the D-ring that comes on the leash, carabiner your swivel, and then your buddy bolt screws into your bell, carabiner to that, and then to the other side of the D-ring. And the reason for that is we don't want this strap to twist and put any torque on it. You want to keep the movement for swings and cleans and presses, and the way your shoulder rotates through things like windmills and overhead squats. You want to make sure that this is free enough and doesn't prohibit you from moving correctly. So that's why this exists, so make sure you use this. It's very important. All right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply screw the bolt into the bottom of your bell. And this fits all of our kettlebells. It fits some imports that are out there. Pretty universal thread. There you go. Crank that down. Carabiner the other end to it, and there you go. Now you're all leashed up, ready to rock and roll. Okay. All right, I'm going to run through a bunch of exercises that we can do with the leash. First being your kettlebell swing. So I'm going to go through a couple of moves with you, a couple of reps, and I'll explain what's happening. In this top position, where normally we feel weightlessness in this position, it's not weightless at all. So I intuitively work just a little bit harder, drive with a little more force off the ground, pushing through the hip, squeeze my glutes tight. I still use the same form, just a bit more exertion. So at the highest point, I'm at the heaviest point. At my lowest point, I'm at the lightest point, right? And it's amazing how quickly this corrects people's swing. Let's move on to the next exercise. Now we have cleans. Now with the leash, you have to be smart about this. You don't want the leash to wrap around your leg. Leave it in front of you. Start right between the heels and bring the bell to that rack position. And back down, I touch and bring it back up. Now just by changing the position of the leash, I throw it out to one side, changes the amount of force that's required to bring it to the rack. I bring it back down and back up. In an exercise like this, I can double up. Completely different exercise. On the descent, the bell pulls to the ground just a little faster. I absorb a little quicker and completely weightless to the bottom. On presses, we have the clean down. I bring it up. Now we do our sink. It's a tight leg lock, sink, and press. And I'm bringing a couple of pounds with me on every rep. Pull it to that rack, and again, because the leash is right under that bell, it pulls me right into my lat, right into my oblique, and puts me in the proper position. Drive and press. You can change this up a bit by simply throwing the leash behind me. And if you notice, the leash is off the ground, so as I press this, it actually pulls me into the correct position. It's very, very subtle. I sink, I drive, and I feel that that's correct. I feel very comfortable in this position. I don't have to figure out where my arm should be. Let's take this right into overhead squat since we're up top. So, we've got our clean. There's our sink and press. I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see this. I'm going to leave the leash out there because this is what's been working well in our punch gyms, is having in the windmill position, having the chain behind us, having the leash behind us, really enforcing the technique of bringing my arm and getting my shoulder packed properly, loading my lat and my oblique, moving away from the weight, and properly moving under the weight. Clients are finally realizing what moving away from the weight means and moving under the weight means. With an overhead squat, another way to do it is to have it right by the side of your outside foot. Changes the resistance completely. It requires me to have a better understanding of where my arm should be, because now the weight's directly under me rather than away from me. When it's away from me, out to the side or behind me, it pulls me in the correct position. Where it's right by my foot, I need to really understand where to be, how much tension to create on the way down and back up again. So the progression would be on any of these exercises, keep the leash out to the side of you. That's really going to be the teaching tool. Much more difficult progression, and then bring it in closer once you understand the feeling of the exercise. Right? So there's your overhead squat. Turkish get-ups. Now, like I've been explaining with the windmill and the overhead squat, by throwing the leash out to the side of you, it will force you to create enough tension and resistance to understand where your body should be. Correct body positioning, we'll call it body awareness. I'm going to throw the leash out to the side. Lie back. As I get up, again, the leash is going to start to come with me. I'm going to feel my arm pushing over to the left and behind. Bend my left knee. I'm going to get up on my right elbow. And man, I feel that right now. I'm fighting to keep this straight up over my head. It wants to pull back. Elevate. Bring my knee behind and get off that hand. Now I really feel this. I'm going to push off that back foot right there. And it's pulling me right back into the correct position. So I'm moving under the weight. Now I move away from it. And then safely lie back. Just be aware that as you come down, you might end up lying on the leash a little bit. Just push it out to the side so you're not uncomfortable when you lie back, and finish the move and switch sides and do it again. All right, so practice these, keep it safe, throw the leash out on the side of you, play around with it, get it behind you. It changes the exercise considerably. Wonderful corrective exercises.